Bam, we're live on YouTube as well. All right. Let's go. Let's roll. All right. Today is day 9 of the 100-day Remodelers Rulebook. And we are getting into, let me share my screen, the fears. That's right. 1 second here. Entire screen. All right. Here we are. So we got 3 fears that are keeping your business small. Let's jump into them. All right. This one is pretty universal. So understand that I talk with a lot of remodelers from across the country, and I can speak for myself, right? You start to universally, you understand that the reason that you aren't getting what you want is because of you. I want to blame other people, right? I want to blame the economy. I want to blame my neighborhood, the state that I live in, my employees, and it's me. Like my business is only as big as I let it become because of what fears that I have about running a larger business. So here we go. Remodelers, look, it's not the economy. It's not bad leads. It's not those homeowners who want the champagne kitchens or the beer budgets. The thing that's keeping you small literally is your own fear, right? It's the fear of charging what you're worth. This is why you underbid. It's why you're afraid to raise your price. When you're in front of the homeowner and you're desperate for a job, you know going out there how much you want to charge, how much you need to pay all your bills. And then you start to crumble. You're with the homeowner. They start telling you they got 3 other bids. I don't know if we can afford this. And the next thing you know, you get desperate. And then you lower your price. And then you hate yourself because now you're doing the job. And you probably could have gotten it for more if you just would have stuck to your guns. And that's unfortunate because that's a reality of what happens. So low bids are going to guarantee that you lose. Like, I'm not saying you'll get the job, but you lose. You would have been better off fishing. Like, go fishing and come up with a better plan instead of lowering your price. Set your price and sell it as if you want the homeowner to say no. You want the homeowner to say, wow, that's awful expensive. You're darn right it is. And then ask them, well, what do you think about that? Like, why do you think it's expensive? Why is my price more than the other people? Let's really dive into it. Let's take a look. So let's look at this. You'll price a $75 kitchen. Let's say you know the kitchen's supposed to be 75 grand. And then because of fear, you start thinking, well, I could charge a little less for this. You start scratching out some of your numbers because you got to get that proposal over. And you're like, well, they told me they were getting other bids. I don't know. And the next thing you know, you're trying to sell it for 55. You're getting it down to the bare minimum, right? Because you're scared. You're scared of the scaring the homeowner. So now you're volunteering yourself for 3 months, basically, to work for free. Congratulations. You're bringing all the tools. You're bringing all the expertise. The homeowner gets to run away with all the spoils. They get the remodeled kitchen, and you get nothing. You just get paid basically for some time. You would have been better off being like, come work for me. Be my employee. All right. If you don't want to make any money and you're good at doing your work, go work for somebody. Anyhow, so you can use AI to practice your sales presentation. Put out the price that you want to put out there and ask AI, what objections is the homeowner likely to going to come up with? How can I overcome these objections? Here's what I know about the homeowner, right? You put in your research. You've done some reconnaissance. You've done due diligence. You can do different pricing scenarios. You can come up with your margin calculator, do your markup versus margin versus profit, and draft some homeowner scripts. Anyhow, that's how you should start using AI. It's going to be your objection machine. Help. So I'm meeting with the Smiths tomorrow at 3 p.m. to present my estimate because you didn't get paid for it this time, which you should have. So you got to learn how to at least present a price that'll get you some money. All right. So let's talk about the fear of saying no. A lot of us will say yes to every job, every client, every request because we're afraid of missing out. We're afraid we might not get another chance. And because we don't know exactly how, we're always, if we don't have a marketing system in place because we don't understand how to do it, then you almost feel like you have to take every lead. You actually can't say no because you can't predict when I'm going to get the next one. That's a scary place to run your business from. So the truth, you've got to learn to say yes, right? And that way you can get rid of the wrong clients. It's the fastest way to tank your business is to keep taking on the wrong client. Every job that you take for the wrong client at the wrong price prevents you from taking the time to get better at marketing and selling and landing the job with the proper client. And then you get referred to another shitty customer because you just worked for a shitty customer, right? And you just spiral. You have to break out of that chasm. So let's say you've taken a lead from Home Advisor and it's a cheap lead, right? Now you're trapped in this nightmare kitchen. It's got the lowest margin and you've got this demanding homeowner. It's a lose-lose situation. Now you're going to get a crappy review. Like the whole thing is shit. You should have just gone fishing and not taken the job. So with AI, you can work with our weed the lead process where you can start finding a way to ask better qualifying questions up front and at least charge for a design. And then you can say no. Do the design for the homeowner. Get to know them better. If they are super cheap, then you don't have to do the build. At least you got paid to do the design and you made a profit on that. Learn to cut, as they say, learn how to cut bait ahead of time. So you can use AI to do role playing again on how you sell the design and even to help it uncover red flags. Like, what are some red flags that I should look for with this type of homeowner? List their demographics, list their personality style, list the things that they've said to you, responses that and how you've interacted with them, and ask the model to generate what it most likely predicts. All right. This is one that is hard for people to hear. Many people in the remodeling industry have a true fear for building a real business. Think back to when you dreamed about getting into this business. There you were, most likely working for some other guy. He was selling jobs, had you out producing them. You're like, well, if that's in your mind, you're like, this is easy, right? I could just sell the job myself and I'll take the money and I don't have to charge. So you came into the business saying, well, I don't have to charge as much as he charges because I'm the one doing all the work anyway. And that's where you get started off on the wrong foot in business because now you don't know how to charge enough. Your whole game plan was to be the cheap guy because you just wanted a job for yourself. And then you're like, well, this sucks. I need to build a business. But what you weren't paying attention while you were working for the other guy is how do you build a business? You were just looking at, I can charge the homeowner less and make a little bit more. That's good for me. But that's not good for running a business. So too many remodelers are clinging. Like if you're still clinging on to running all the tools, right? It's because you're scared to hire, and likely so because you've probably tried to hire and didn't understand how to do it and didn't know why the guy that you hired was junk and a piece of crap and why the things crashed and burned. And then you're scared to delegate. You don't quite understand how to delegate. It's a scary place to be when you don't understand these things. So you have to learn how to bring on good soldiers. You have to become like the general, the leader, right? Generals build armies. So the project management becomes key. And instead of you keep saying, I'll do it better next year, you have to learn how to do it this year because most of you end up burning out within 3 years. Especially those of you, if you're still trying to hit 750,000, and even some of you that get up into the million to 3 million, you'll burn out if you can't figure out how to hire people and get them under you. So you can use AI and you can have it help you write some job postings, right? Help me write some good job descriptions. How do I train my next carpenter that I'm going to hire? Maybe give yourself 6 months, right? Lay the foundation now. So finally, the deal is that fear is costing you more money than any tool, right? It's not the latest tool. It's not that buying the next F350 is not going to make or break your business. Getting a new app so that you can put documents on, that's not going to make it. Learning how to get customers sell jobs for profit, and hire people. That's what makes or breaks a business. Okay. So if you want to outbid, out earn, and outwork your competition, you can't be scared when you're trying to do it. So that's what today was all about. This was day 9. If anybody needs any further assistance, you can always comment. Spark building blocks. How to learn something you're compassionate. That is profitable. Yes, I think you're right. User. Yeah, building. You absolutely. It's called skill stacking. So think about this. Most of you, if you were hired into the trades, like first job I had, I painted, right? And then after painting, then I wanted to get into real construction, real remodeling. You do a few decks, you do a few kitchens, a few baths, you get into your first addition or two, you do a whole house remodel, you do a large scale rehabs. Then now you've cut your teeth, right? And so just like you had to build your skills for how you renovate or remodel a house out in the field, you have to do the same with running your business. You have to put in a system. You have to track everything that you do so you can show it to someone else. This is how I do this. This is how I set up every day at the job. This is my approach for how I manage my leads. This is how I go about selling my leads. How to be less nervous as a business person when sales ultimately are your... Exactly. I can't use her. You are exactly correct. Here's the thing. When you got a lot of carpenters specifically, right, you think that'll sell. Like, oh, I can do carpentry work. Great. But if you can't properly present it to the homeowner where you can walk out with a profit, then you don't have much of a business. You're absolutely correct. And at the end of the day, here's what a lot of guys don't understand. I have a lot of guys tell me I don't need to sell. My work sells itself. I'm going to tell you right now, that attitude lets me know that the homeowner is selling you. The homeowner is dictating the price and terms now because they know they're a better salesperson than you are, right? Somebody's always persuading somebody. Either you are helping the homeowner understand why your price is a good price, the one that gives you profit, or the homeowner is persuading you why not paying you that high price is the good price, and then you accept the lower price. So you just got sold by the homeowner. Without knowledge of the industry. Yeah, most guys don't have good knowledge of the industry. Different industry, but same mind. Yeah, I would agree with you. I appreciate you participating. You have this long ass username. So anyhow, but yeah. So at the end of the day, this business is easier. It's easier than most people make it because most guys get stuck in their head thinking that they know best. And when you're thinking wrong, you're making the game much more complicated than it has to be. So, that's all I have for tonight. Does anybody have any other questions? Otherwise, we're gonna... And look, just so you guys understand the dynamic. Obviously, there's a lot of interaction on TikTok, which is awesome. I put the videos on YouTube so that that way I can have a record of the video and replay it. All right. So if you are curious why there's like you guys obviously on TikTok, you can't see my screen the whole time. And for those of you on YouTube, you can't see that there's other people interacting. So that's just the way the world works. All right. Question for you. What builds confidence into the questionable of what you're selling? If you're asking what builds confidence, confidence is built on experience. I mean, how many of you are not confident that you can tie a shoe? Right? You've been tying your shoe for like 20 years. You're very fucking good at tying your shoe. You know how to do that. You have no lack of confidence. When if I asked you to tie your shoe, show me how to tie a shoe, you could do that. But if I said to you, well, explain to me why your price is good. Why do I have to pay that much? Why are you $20,000 more than the other? If you don't have that same confidence saying, well, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, that's a really good question. Have you ever thought about why I'm more? I mean, this is what I know. I know my product's top of the line. I mean, we only build once. We don't have to come back and warrant the work because we do it right the first time. You have to explain to homeowners that if they just pass a general building inspection, that's getting a C. That's like a D plus, low C to pass. If you want something nice, you have to go above code. A code is the bare minimum that has to be done to pass. And you have to properly explain that. Some homeowners think if they're building the code that they're like, that's A plus. No, it's not A plus. It's not even C plus. It's the bare minimum that has to be done. So you want to explain to them like, well, there's a lot of clients out there that want it built way above code. So you've got a flash goal. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're saying. When the competitors have equal work ethic, how do you sell you? You sell the result. You got to ask, look, why do homeowners pay $6 for a Starbucks coffee or $12 when they could make it at home? It's because somebody's doing it for them and giving them a better product, right? The experience. Starbucks makes it easy. I don't even have to get out of my car. I can sit my fat ass in the car. I can drive around the parking lot and get loaded up with caffeine and sugar and run out the door, right? I get my Starbucks. Think about remodeling. You want to make remodeling super. You want to explain to the homeowner, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, remodeling can be a nightmare. All kinds of problems can happen. Scheduling delays, you can fail inspections. Maybe the sub doesn't show up. What if one of my competitors getting all his employees down around the corner at the homeless camp, right? And they all have drug addictions. So that means they're only showing up like 1 to 2 days a week because the day I pay them, the next day they're getting high. Then they can't work, so he has to wait another day or two. And he can't get the same guys all the time because he can only bring the guys that have a clear mind and a clear, and like, is that who you want working on your house? I mean, that's what your competition, some of these cheap prices, that's what's happening. You have to explain that to the homeowner and let them know, like, ma'am, this is the reality of the world you live in. Don't think that cheaper guy's not making profit. The way he's making profit is he's not paying for anything else. He's not paying to do good work. He's not paying to bring good labor. But how do you think he affords his lifestyle? Because he's making a profit and you're getting stuck with a shitty job because you're getting ripped off. You don't want that. You have to explain to them the value that you bring. Like if you're licensed and if you're insured and you have references and you bring back quality work and you don't have lawsuits and you don't have a bunch of customer complaints, you have to explain to homeowners that the majority of lawsuits in America are the homeowner thinking that they're smart and then shopping for the best price and then hiring the cheap contractor. And then 6 months later, the whole thing going sideways. 3 years later, the homeowner's kitchen still isn't remodeled and they're embattled in lawsuits and litigation. And when you interview these homeowners, it all comes back to the same thing. Well, we hired one of the cheapest bidders. And you want to explain that to your homeowner. Say the court systems in America are littered with lawsuits between homeowners and contractors. And what's commonality? The homeowner and the contractor both were cheap. The homeowner went and picked the cheapest bidder. The contractor submitted the cheapest bid. And that's why they end up in lawsuits. Do you really want to go in a lawsuit? Like sometimes you have to ask them, that $5,000 that you want to save, is it really worth risking the next 3 years of your life and not having this kitchen done? With me, at least you'll know you'll have the kitchen done in 2 months. With the other guy, who knows if it'll ever get done. So anyhow, all right, guys, I hope that answers everything. I am so you're asking me to invite you. If you have to send me a message, I got to find out who you are if you want to get invited in here. All right. Anyway, appreciate you guys being here. Hope you have a good night and message me if you have any questions. You can always send me a message. Feel free to get over to my Instagram or YouTube. Join one of my groups if you need more assistance. Success in this business, you can get it. I share everything, all right, that I've used, that I've helped others. There's no big secret. The reason only a few people succeed is because there's only a few people willing to do it. That's the secret. All right. You guys are awesome. Take care. And we'll be back tomorrow. Any other questions before I roll out? I don't see anything. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to find something. All right. We're rolling down. That's the end of the night, guys. So I appreciate y'all being here. And we will be back. There'll be another one of these tomorrow. All right. You guys take care. Gonna stop the share here. All right. All right, YouTube. Those of you out here, as always, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or want to get anywhere. Just know that whatever goals you want to achieve, you can get there faster when somebody helps you, right? That's all it takes. So, and I've got some of these prompts together. So for those of you that have stayed and watched the whole thing, if you want one of the prompts, you message me directly and let me know you watched the video to minute 21, and then I'll send them over to you. All right. Take care.